Alright, Morgan's Monster Mayhem. In this video, I'll be making a headhunter robot from random junk, recycled plastic, dollar store stuff, and so much glue. Morgan's Creations put out a challenge, build a monster. I was already gearing up to build a robot, so it wasn't much of a stretch to make that an evil robot. Using that Modibot as a reference, I'm putting together bamboo skewers, wooden beads, and the core from a receipt roll. This Modibot really came in handy trying to figure out a pose. I wanted him to look like he was taking a step forward, and he'll be holding one of his heads in his left hand. I wanted this guy to be freestanding and knew he'd have a weird center of balance. I found this Final Faction gun and cut it down. For feet, they were perfect. Time to make some hands. This is just beads and electrical beelies. Everything came together so cool. It was definitely my favorite part of the build. I ended up using what seemed like 50 meters of wire on this guy, most of them from an HDMI cable. This is the first of 5 heads I made for this guy. This was his original head that got mostly knocked off his body. I think that's what made him crazy. Just using the wheels from a cheap skateboard toy and a lid from some kind of spray bottle. Drilling some holes, putting some glue, sticking some eyes. Alright, so now we're getting into the day 4 wire madness. I shot hours of video of me messing with these damn wires, so I thought I'd chop it into like a 10-second montage. It was a ton of work, but I really liked the way it came out. Very organic. I used the corners of this bottle to make some leg armor. I didn't think I could recreate that bent shape with plastic card. Of course, I had to distress the hell out of it. Bullet holes are nice. I glued the armor pieces directly to the legs and wires. Of course, I added a little seasoning to help that glue dry quick. It was when I was making these, I guess, ankle armor pieces, I came to realize that these legs were not distressed enough. So I went to town with the cutters. The thought was, what if the leg got broken off and then repaired with just using plywood or something? I didn't end up painting it to look like wood. It drew too much attention to the leg, but it sure was fun putting that together. With all that done, I realized without the ankle armor, we needed a termination point for all those damn wires. So here we go with the beads. Using some more plastic card, I gave him some armor around the side. It was fun distressing this one piece. After that was all done, I just riveted it on with diamond art. Here we go with head 2 and 3. I actually don't show the creation of head 4. These are just lens cases for disposable contact lenses. Just cut out some eyes and that's it. This last head is easily my favorite, and I'm planning on using it for a future build. Just some plastic yo-yos and some beads. I ended up using the side section of an Ethernet cable for his mouth. I thought it came out great. Several of these heads have washers built into them so that I can stick them on the magnet that's in the robot's hand. That way I can interchange the heads whenever I want. I figured since he had a traumatic leg injury, he's also going to need a walking staff/weapon. Ended up using another piece off of Final Faction. This guy's sword was perfect. Had to chop it down a bit. And just like that, the build is done. Time for primer. This is the first time I've used black primer, and I love it. Never going back. I figured this dude's been out surviving in the wastelands a long time, collecting his heads, living his evil robot life. Ended up using the rust technique I learned from Andy Mecca, starting with the dark, working my way slowly up to kind of a red, layer after layer. Once the rust coat was done, I covered parts of his body and head with a light gray, followed by a dark gray to represent his original color, and then I did the same technique in blue for his ball joints. Came out pretty cool. This is definitely my favorite paint job. Alright, accessorizing. So every headhunter robot I know needs a belt to hang those heads off of. I'm just using some sisal rope and darken it up with some watered down paint. I ended up hitting it with the oil wash as well to get it darker. Decided to add some chipping, but backed off on it pretty quickly, just here and there with some silver. After I was done painting, I still had a lot left in my wet palette, so I decided to go ahead and paint this mat that I printed off with the Morgan's Monster Mayhem logo on it. Also looks like one of my stickers is on there. Just gave it the same paint job I gave the robot, with the gray, the blue, the rust. I was thinking at the end of all this I was going to burn it for dramatic effect, but I just can't. I love it too much. I figured if you have a belt, you're going to need a cape. This is just a cut up piece of pillowcase covered in some watered down brown, and then everything goes outside for oil wash. Fun seeing them all hanging like that. Let the oil wash dry overnight, and then on to assembly. Tearing this cape apart was super fun. After gluing the folds in the cape into position, my wife recommended darkening up the cape even more, so I just mixed up some black with a bunch of water and just dabbed away. The more I put on there, the better it looked. And just like that, we've reached the end. Here's some glamour shots. Thank you so much for watching the whole thing, and thanks to Morgan's Creations for the challenge. This guy took me forever to put together, but I had a great time and learned a lot. I'll definitely be faster in the future. And speaking of the future, there are more videos coming, so if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. And on your way out, if you gently caress the like button, that would be pretty cool too.